Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of marketing tools trying to keep your business running smoothly? What if you could simplify it all with one platform? That's where Go High Level comes in, your all-in-one sales and marketing solution built for small businesses like you. In fact, Go High Level has over 1 million users just like you. With Go High Level, you can capture leads, automate your prospect and client journeys, quickly and efficiently build stunning websites, sales pages, and sales funnels. Imagine managing your CRM, email, SMS, and funnels without duct taping a dozen tools together. Plus, their unlimited plan lets you add as many contacts and users as you need, no hidden fees. We've been using Go High Level for over a year now and absolutely love it. In fact, Profit First Nation is also powered by Go High Level. Ready to level up? Start your Profit First Nation extended 30-day free trial today at www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. That's www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. Streamline your workflow, impress your clients, and grow smarter, not harder.
Welcome to Profit First Nation, the official podcast for entrepreneurs who are operating their businesses in the zone of permanent profitability. I'm Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, and now here's your Profit First Nation guide, Daniel Mulvey.
Today is an incredibly special episode. It is a Profit First journey where we have someone who has read Profit First and taken the leap and implemented it in their business. So today I would like to introduce Renee Moore. She is the owner of Canine Craze Performance Center, a dog training facility in Urbandale, Iowa. And she is also the creator of Dog Perfect and Puppy Perfect, which will turn your naughty dog or your naughty puppy into the perfect dog through her innovative and just dynamic online training programs for that. Welcome to Profit First Nation, Renee.
Thank you for having me.
So we haven't spoken a while, which has been on purpose, so that we can get the real download, because it's been about a year since you implemented Profit First. You read the book and you dove right in right away, and then we got connected pretty quickly. And then I think you might have had like a question to the podcast or something, and then you joined in July of 2023. So a little less than 2 months after starting Profit First, you joined our community Second Half Strong, which was really gonna get you focused, and you showed up every day to work an hour on your business, and you made such a huge transformation over that 6 months. So we're going to talk about kind of like your journey here. That's why it's the Profit First Journey episode. So we'll talk about what got you to implement Profit First, kind of like some things about that implementation process. Then we'll talk about your experience in Second Half Strong, and then what's been going on in 2023. So did I say that right? So you implemented it in May of 2022, and you joined Second Half Strong in July of 2022. I think I might have gotten those years wrong. So sorry about that. All right. So what made you implement Profit First? How did you hear about Profit First?
So I was in the mastermind, and in the mastermind, somebody had mentioned the Profit First book, and it intrigued me because one thing that I had always struggled on in the world of business or owning a business is I never had any money in the bank. And in fact, I was always scrambling. And then when certain payments would come up for different things, it'd be like, okay, where am I going to find this extra money this time? And I never had enough, and it seemed to disappear quickly. And it was silly because when you're a six-figure business, you're going, well, you bring in a lot of money, where's all the money going? And so I was kind of just tired of the rat race.
Awesome. And you really, I mean, like clearly you read the book and you're just like, I'm doing this. And I mean, I would say that you just were one of those people that didn't waste any time in terms of implementing it. Tell everyone, is the implementation easy, medium, or hard to do? And about how long did it take you from when you finished Profit First, reading the book, to actually doing your first full allocation day?
Yeah, so I finished reading the book in spring of 2022. I want to say it was around April. It was about within the month that I had opened up the accounts. I actually switched banks, and I opened up the accounts and I moved everything over. And it was a process because you have a lot. Well, if anybody's like me, which I'm sure you are, you have a ton of automatic payments. And so you had to like set things up in a way that, things weren't getting lost in translation as you were moving things about. But it was about 4 to 6 weeks from the time I finished Profit First, opened the bank accounts, and then did my first allocation because I had to get everything moved over. Hard, not. It's not hard. What's hard is the mental work. Because we're driven by our habits, and Mike talks about that all the time. And when you make this shift, you have to continually tell yourself, okay, like if you jump in, I love your all in, because if you jump in, you have to jump all in. You can't just do it a little bit; it'll never work. And so I jumped in and I made it happen. And I'm very glad I did. It has been a lifesaver on multiple occasions where I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is a month and we didn't make as much income as we normally do. And I have money in the bank to cover the bills.
Excellent. Yeah, like you're the poster child for Profit First, definitely. So a couple of things. Why did you decide to change banks?
Okay, very good question. I chose banks. I went to a credit union from a regular bank. The regular bank, they were not willing to work with me. I went in, I sat down with a banker that I kid you not, I have had for 15 years. And I said, this is what I want to do. Could I open these accounts? I would like to not, have fees associated with these accounts. This is what I'm doing. And she said, sorry, it's not bank policy. We can't do it. And I said, okay. And I left that day and I went and set an appointment with the other bank. And I went to a credit union.
And the credit union welcomed you with open arms and said, are you sure you just want 5 accounts? We could give you 10, 20 accounts.
Absolutely. And I have since opened, I think, oh my gosh, when I go in and I go to do a deposit, it's so funny to watch some of their faces because they're like, you have so many accounts, because I have more than just the regular accounts. I've opened other accounts and done some advanced Profit First stuff.
Excellent. Because, and when in doubt, open an account and it gives you some clarity. So we'll kind of talk about those. What are some examples of additional accounts that you have?
So I ended up, because I have about 20 employees. And so I have a payroll account. So rather than it being in with operations, I have a payroll account. I also have a quarterly and annual payment account where I take out of operations the monthly amount and I transition it into that account. So it's kind of a holding account, right? So then when those payments come up, I can pull the money. And then we have an agility program that runs in a totally different location. And so I have an account for that because I have a stipend of that money that goes to buying new equipment or upgrading equipment. So we have that as an account. And I have separated, I actually have 2 income accounts because one, I wanted to keep track of what I was bringing in online, like virtually for the online course. Sure. And then I have all of my in-person business go into an income account. So I wanted to keep track of the flow of money between those 2 aspects within the same business.
That's awesome. Cause especially, are you having, is the online programming, do those have specific start and stop dates? Or is that a continual enrollment?
It's a continual enrollment.
But really, really nice clarity that you're getting to see, where is the revenue coming from? And again, you wanted to see specifically about the online programming and that revenue. So it's totally plausible to have, two income accounts, and then you're just doing the allocations, from those income accounts. So awesome. Totally great. And because they're one business entity, you can still have multiple income accounts. Now, you said, probably like the hardest part, or, one of the most challenging parts or tedious parts was making the transition to the new bank, but it forced you to, really kind of take a hard look at those automated payments that were happening. Did that prove to find you some profitability by eliminating some operating expenses that were just kind of seeping out every month because they were just being automatically debited?
Yes, I had around 5% of my operations that I cut out without even, I cut out because there were automatic payments. I didn't need to do it. There were things I could cancel. There were things that I was paying for I didn't even know I was paying for. And it absolutely did. And now, I do a lot on spreadsheets. I know, Danielle, you love your spreadsheets. So I have a whole spreadsheet, and every single month I have everything noted now for all of my automatic payments, and I'm literally looking at it monthly.
Excellent. So if something changes in your business, that subscription that you now have a different vendor for and such is eliminated quickly and efficiently. Because remember, people, there's only two ways to increase profitability. Number one, increase margin, which means raising prices. And number two, decreasing expenses. Every dollar that goes out of your business as an operating expense is one less dollar going towards your profitability. So, that is awesome. And a great tip there to, really just, especially it sounds like too, you're taking advantage of maybe some annual discounts and such, because you set up that separate allocation account where you can accumulate kind of like the monthly value of it, but then it's sitting there. So when you have to make that annual payment to get that, annualized discount versus paying month to month, that's there and such. So, so a great tip is to really, on those recurring payments, or things that you're paying annually, having a spreadsheet, having kind of like a calendar view of, when does this renew, and, do I need to cancel it before the renewal comes up? So awesome tips there. All right. So, so you started allocating, and then you joined Second Half Strong. So Second Half Strong was a very, focused into the year. Like, that's why it was called Second Half Strong, so that you're spending July through December and you're making the second half of 2022 strong. And, in that program, basically one of the real keys was that you would sprint on your business every day. And so you would spend an hour of quiet time. But we check in, we do it over Zoom, but no one was talking. And sprinting on your business and dedicating that hour to working on your business. And oh my gosh, you accomplished so much. So talk about like that kind of shift and that mindset and that habit of working on your business an hour a day.
Yeah, several things, actually. Let me start with saying that initially that hour a day, it took me a little bit to even figure out what was most efficient to work on in that hour. So, but once I got a plan, it was so nice. I was able to get a little bit done every day. Projects that I had on my to-do list for years in some cases, I actually got traction on. Also, coming back to the drawing board on a daily basis for that hour allowed me to continually focus on the business and the direction I was going, which when you get caught up in the minutia of your business in the day to day, you often lose sight of. And next thing you know, you're, it's miles the wrong direction. And by doing that hour every single day, it allowed me to come back and start my day with focusing on where I'm going and the goal. And then nothing during the day really took me off track for what I actually need to focus on. And when opportunities or things would come up, I learned it's okay to say no.
Very good. Yes. So that sprinting on your business ideally happens in like in the first hour of your day, of your business day, because, with best intentions, our days as a business owner often get hijacked and, we go to put out the fire, we go to what's urgent and maybe not important, but having that sprinting hour in that morning really allows you to be super strategic and really kind of knock through things. But it is important to have a plan. And kind of saying, okay, here's what I want to accomplish over 5 days of sprinting, or here's what I want to accomplish over the next 10 days of sprinting. So you just totally knocked it out of the park. Kind of maybe like walk us through where your business was and the evolution it took during second half strong. I've got the spreadsheet if you need a refresh on that. So tell us a little bit, give us some numbers, give us a breakdown.
Oh my gosh, give you some numbers. I don't remember my numbers from then. We're 6 months into 2023. Okay, so I guess where I'm going to say to start is I really took a hard look at the industry standard and I refused to be in a box. So a lot of things happened in that 6 months of second half strong where I really looked into, the industry does private trainings, for example, private trainings with dogs this way. The industry holds training classes this way. But I think I kept saying to you guys over and over and over again, I was like, this isn't working. Like people come in and they think a 6-week class is all they need to train their dog and then they're good. And that's just not the way it works. And so in regards to numbers, I remember when we were reverse engineering, I love your reverse engineering. We were looking at what's the most profitable, what takes the least amount of time, has the highest profit margins. And what we really came down to is classes. Training classes
right.
was one of our in-person, the highest profit margin as far as in-person services. We obviously have my consulting, but that's another thing. So the classes were the best. But one of the things I kept saying to you, which this is one of my big changes, by the way, that I was going to share is, people would take the first class, but then they wouldn't sign up for the sequential classes, or a small percentage of people would. And so this is where I said, I know the industry does it this way, but forget about it. I'm throwing it away. And I took Dog Perfect, which was my virtual class I put together. And that's what we offer now in person. And so if you come take an obedience class from us, you can't just take 6 weeks and be done. It's a 15-week course. You take it all or you take nothing. And that's not industry standard. But I have to tell you, it's helped our bottom line, because now when people sign up, they sign up for the whole thing. It's not trying to get people to sign up over and over again.
And really, what you finessed is kind of giving people what they want, but also what they need. They want obedience training. They want the results, but what they really need is a 15-week program. They really need something that is different than what is in the industry right now. And I'm sure, because you changed your model, I mean, your clients are getting amazing results because now you're delivering what they need. It wasn't necessarily what they wanted, what they thought they wanted, but it is what they need to get the results that they want.
Yes, absolutely 100%. And now we're not spending money and time on the back end trying to get people to sign up for the next class. Instead, they get it all. It's all inclusive.
Awesome. And then, so you mentioned a little bit about monthly consulting or your consulting, which was a monthly retainer. And I want to say you, like we talked about it a little bit and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is incredible margin for you. And you really had a true passion for it too, because you brought an expertise to it and you were really helping the organization that you were consulting with in a phenomenal way. And if I'm not mistaken, you at least doubled, but possibly tripled that consulting fee?
Doubled. Yes.
Doubled. Okay. Amazing. Doubled. But like you doubled it in like 2 months, right? I mean,
yeah, it was something like that. Yes.
Right away. And you know, what's funny about that? And I was talking to my daughter about this today is what's important. And, you know, I think, you know, you've been part of masterminds and stuff before, but what I hope Second Half Strong did for you was it gave you an opportunity to kind of like get things out of your head, talk to someone and put it out into the universe, you know?
Yeah.
Because you probably never really you know, like I forced the conversation on consulting.
Yes.
It was kind of like, well, this is fine, whatever. But then, you know, when you put a little effort into it, when you looked at it a little bit closer, it doubled for you and at a tremendous margin. So, you know, those kind of things make a difference. And it's not one thing, right? It's the sum of all things that really has made your business more valuable, more profitable, easier to run too, because you also kind of, you know, by peeling back the layers on these different offerings and really kind of like breaking up the business and deciding what you wanted to focus on, what you could make better, what you could make more profitable, you really found opportunities to increase that. I mean, we were talking about your private training and, you know, how that was a bit of a scatter model in terms of bookings. And then you change that up to make it a tighter schedule and more efficient so that you weren't paying for trainers who didn't have appointments in between appointments or they had to travel great distances, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we changed it into a membership because the membership is, and we started that in January as well. That was another thing that came. There were so many things that came out of Second Half Strong. But I mean, I'm hitting the iceberg here, the tip of it. So the other thing that came out with the private trainings, you're absolutely right, was I was paying payroll for times that the trainers weren't working with clients. So I hit it actually from both angles. So trainers needed to be working with clients in order to be paid. But on top of that, the other thing that happened was I turned our private training into a membership, which means you pay a membership fee on a monthly basis and you have a time slot with your trainer every week or every other week. And you meet with them and you get charged for any time slot in the month that the trainer's available and we're open as a facility. And if that means that it's 3 times in that month you'd meet, you get charged for 3 times. If you can't make it, you can't make it. Like that's like you're paying to have that time slot. So
it's reserved. So you're getting paid no matter what, which,
yes.
You know, the cancellations were kind of killing you. And,
my gosh.
And because you were still paying your staff, right?
Yes, absolutely. Especially a lot of them were last minute cancellations. I mean, we looked through and in 1 month there were 45 reschedules. And not only were there 45 reschedules, but the reschedules took away from us as well because it tacked it on to the end of their package. And so not only were we out the money of the one that they now called and canceled, but then we were out and the time, right? It's the time, the trainer's time and everything else. The one that they canceled, we were out on the back end as well, because if they didn't renew their package, that's another time slot that's gone. And so I inksnayed it from both sides. So I fixed it. We smashed it like a sandwich and it's been great.
Yeah, I remember kind of like when you were starting to like peel back those layers when we were together for like the end of the strategic planning session for 2023, and the group had come together in person, and like you were just on fire after we were done, and we sat in the lobby there, and you really just are like, oh, there's some retooling here, big retooling. And you just plowed through it and really got it figured out. And again, like not doing necessarily what every other dog training performance center is doing. You got smart about it. And clients, you probably didn't lose clients, right?
No, we didn't. You always worry about that when you make changes like this. But no, we had no client that responded in a negative light, where they left for that reason. I mean, we had some meet their training goals and then moved on, but that happens all the time. But we didn't have any angry clients come to us and go, "I can't believe you're doing this. Like, this is crazy or absurd." Yeah, everybody was so nice. And you're right. And in fact, it was that strategic planning session when you're talking about I was on fire. That's when I decided, I said, what am I doing creating two programs? I need to take my virtual program and offer it in person. And that's when I made that decision. And then when I came home back to the facility, we hit the ground running and we got it changed for January.
That's awesome. And, I think the other thing too, when you think about your online training program and even the change that you made to your membership program is you've built in some accountability. And when you've built in some accountability for your customers or your members, they're going to get results because you're keeping them accountable to showing up, doing the work, and therefore, if they show up and do the work, they're going to get the results, right?
Yes.
They're going to get them better, faster, cheaper. And when I say cheaper, it's going to be because they got it done in 15 weeks. They didn't do 6 weeks and then take a break and then come back, a few months later and really kind of have to start at week 1 again and repeat the process. Mm-hmm. It's really about just making things super, super efficient for your clients. And charging a more of a premium, but ultimately, I think in the end, your clients, even though they're paying maybe a premium versus your competitors, they're getting the ultimate results cheaper than going through the traditional way or the way that all the other programs are doing it. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that allows the accelerated learning is the fact that they're with the same trainer. So that same trainer, like if you and your dog are absolutely rocking it, that trainer can push you along further and push you farther than even where the curriculum is in the class. Where if you're switching from trainer to trainer to trainer, because even in our facility, I mean, we have 20 employees. Of those 20 employees, like 12 of them are trainers. So if you're switching from class to class and you have different trainers at different levels teaching different classes, when you come into their class for the first time, they don't know you and your dog. If you have 6 weeks with them, you spend the first 2 to 3 just to get to know them and their dog.
So so accountability, like making it kind of just, you took away the leisure to cancel ad hoc because you were getting a lot of last minute cancellations. Now that they're paying a membership, they want to get their credits in for that month, for that membership. So they're going to be staying on track in the program and not wanting to give up those credits. But I really like that. And then the continuity. So, because they've got the same trainer showing up because they're locked into that schedule and such, perfect. But I really like that term accelerated learning. And that's something that I've really had to it's hard, but it's totally worth it. So, I think of our programming, even with Second Half Strong or the All In Company, et cetera, it's a lot. And so it can be challenging, but it's so worth the challenge to make hard things simple. And so, when you can get accelerated learning in motion, you're getting results for your clients and your customers way faster and more efficient. And again, I'm going to go back to that's better, faster, cheaper. When you can get it done lickety split in that accelerated learning model. So just awesome. What advice do you have to entrepreneurs who, have successful businesses, but they've kind of just been doing the same old?
Well, Well, okay. First, I guess I have to say this. Change is good. And you should never be stagnant. And there's always, now don't get me wrong, there might be certain core things that make your business what it is. But everything on the fringes, you got to be exploring. You got to push yourself outside your comfort zone. Oh my gosh, I hear you and me right now. Me getting outside my comfort zone. So you got to push outside your comfort zone, and you're going to grow as an individual. You're going to be able to help more people. You're going to grow your innovation. And if it's hard, it's working.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to your success. Cheers to another profitable day, my entrepreneurial friend, Renee. If you would like to check out Renee's programming, whether you're in Urbandale, Iowa, or you want to do it online, you can go to caninecraze.com. And for her dog perfect, turn your naughty dog into the perfect dog, go to caninecraze.com/dog-perfect. Thank you so much, my entrepreneurial friends, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Profit First Nation podcast. We hope you found today's episode valuable and that it's inspired you to take action towards achieving permanent profitability in your business. If you want to learn more about how to implement Profit First in your business and connect with a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, be sure to visit us at profitfirstnation.com to download our how-to guides and resources. Remember, permanent profitability is within your reach, and we're here to support you every step of the way. So let's do Profit First right together.
Profit First Nation website, related podcasts, and videos are provided for general information purposes only and do not constitute accounting, legal, tax, or other professional advice. Visitors should not act upon the content or information found here without first seeking appropriate advice from an accountant, financial planner, lawyer, or other professional.
Hey, this is Ro. And if you're a business owner struggling with hiring or just tired of doing it yourself, I highly recommend the Build Your Dream Team Secret Podcast series. There are 7 episodes packed with real stories from founders who've cracked the code on hiring, built high-performing teams, and finally got out of the day-to-day grind. My favorite part? It's not fluff. It's systems, strategy, and results. Text DREAM to 55444. That's DREAM to 55444 to check it out. You'll thank me later.